I'm going to hand you over now to our first speaker, one of three MEPs for the West Midlands, James Carver.
Well, good evening everyone, and thank you so much for turning out on a Friday evening, because what one generally sees in politics is politicians, be they MPs, MEPs or even councillors or candidates, very rarely holding public meetings and coming forward and giving people the chance to ask questions. And that is what UKIP is all about, because we are re-engaging with the electorate. And it's my contention, we saw what happened in May's European elections, where UKIP topped the poll. It's my contention, with the 4.5 million votes we got at the European elections, it's my contention, but if UKIP hadn't have stood, voter turnout would have been even lower. So I believe, irrespective if you're with us, if you're against us, if you're just here tonight to see what we're all about, if you're not sure, well, even if your politics isn't UKIP, what I say, I would hope you would agree that what UKIP has done has engaged with the electorate, and it's fair to say there's been a status quo in British politics for some time, and it's been very much that all three of of course we are now four main political parties, but all the other three of the four main political parties have been very complacent, and I believe taken the British public for granted. So the worst thing that can happen for UKIP is that we don't succeed, and I really believe we will succeed, but the public can win, because of their response to UKIP will be to have to work that much harder to engage with the electorate. So the only people who can win are the public, of course, and that is who UKIP seek to serve. And we saw what happened in May's European elections and the local elections, and I'm delighted to see Jill Seymour here tonight. Jill, precious, would like to stand up. Jill's one of my three West Midlands colleagues. Jill is one of my three West Midlands colleagues in the European Parliament. Perhaps I could ask, I don't know if all six of the Wyre Forest District Councillors are here tonight, but those of you who are, and perhaps any of our two town councillors, perhaps you could stand up and just sort of make yourself known. So, and that really is what's exciting about the party, because we have activists and supporters from all political backgrounds, from all age groups, and I really believe that UKIP is changing British politics, and I think we're changing it for the better. And I really, really do support the efforts that are being put in by the Wyre Forest team and by Michael, because I really think we have a huge opportunity to change British politics. We've seen what's happened in Clacton with Douglas Carswell, we've seen what's happened in Rochester and Stroud with Mark Reckless, and we saw how close we came on that same night of the Clacton by-election, when in Manchester we had Hayward and Middleton, one of the, I think it was the 34th safest Labour seat, is that right? Yeah, the 34th safest Labour seat in the country, where UKIP came within 700 votes. It was less than that, wasn't it? 600. 600 votes. Any advance on 600? Well, we came within 600 votes of beating Labour, and I knew something special was going to happen, because I was up there campaigning on a number of occasions, as was Jill, as was our other West Midlands colleague Bill Etheridge, and a lot of people from across the region. And what struck me was on a day when I was out campaigning, knocking doors, was looking up the road and seeing Labour members of Parliament, Emma Nicholson, one of the Wolverhampton North East. Emma Nicholson was out knocking doors, and a look on the Labour Party's face, because they had realised that there is now a new political party coming forward who really are speaking up for the working man and woman. Because one thing that struck me during the course of the May European elections was the support we were getting from former Labour Party supporters. Because to my mind, the European Union, and I see this from my perspective of being an MEP now for 7 months, from my perspective, the European Union is all about big business. It's all about the lobbying power of the pharmaceuticals. It's all about taking away democracy. And these are core Labour ideals. and I say not since the birth of the real labour movement under Keir Hardie at the end of the 1800s, have the British public been so ready for a change in British politics. And I really believe it's about to happen. And I say to you, if you like what you hear from us tonight, but play your part, come on board, join us, become active. So tell people what, if you've gone away invigorated from tonight's meeting, but play your part in helping us not just make Britain, but make the European Union a better place. Because I'm convinced that when Britain leaves the European Union, it will be like a domino effect, as we saw with the Soviet Union. Because when that first country has the courage to say there is a better future, other parties will follow, and I really am convinced of that. And what we see in the European Union is this evangelical mindset that Europe is the answer, this one-cap-fits-all policy. But to my mind, the great strength of Europe is its diversity. I like the 28 different member states, each with their own customs, each with their own nationalities. And what I don't like, as someone who's, my own grandfather was Polish, what I don't like is the way we're being pasteurised, homogenised and harmonised and being made into this country called Europe. And that, to me, is a very dangerous thing. I sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the European Parliament, and this evangelical mindset that has seen this eastern push, we're now on the borders of the old Russian territories. And if you speak to citizens who live in those border countries, from the Baltic states right the way down to the Ukraine and across to Moldova, you can see the worries, you can see the concerns, because they do worry about how Russia will respond. And it's my contention that the world now, irrespective of the issue of Islamic fundamentalism, just on a question of issue, is just on the question of Europe and integration, Russia really has made things very, very scary on our own doorstep. And what effect has that had on Britain, this push for this common foreign and defence policy? Well, 28 member states react differently. We have countries like the Republic of Ireland and Austria, who are traditionally neutral countries now, and they've built up a huge diplomatic presence on their base of neutrality. Well, the Lisbon Treaty is, of course, a self-amending treaty. So that means the European Union can push for further federalisation. And these countries cannot be left behind. So we're seeing countries such as Austria and the Republic of Ireland being drawn away from their true neutral stances. And we're seeing huge defence implications for the United Kingdom, because in response to this push eastwards, the Russian diplomatic chessboard has come out. And what we've seen just in between Christmas and New Year, as one example of how the European Union isn't benefiting Britain's membership and is placing huge burdens on us, is the fact that one of Russia's responses to this push east from Europe is that they have now just completed a wheat for long-range bombers deal with Argentina. So the Falklands War was in 1982, 35 years ago this year. Sorry, beg your pardon, 33 years ago this year. No, yeah, I can't count, it's been a long day. 33 years ago this year. And now we find that we're in a situation where we have to actually go back and have a strategic defence rethink because of the pressures of that Russian diplomatic game of chess. So things are changing. The world is a far more dangerous place, and it's my contention that this neo-imperialistic ideal of the European Union can only make things more dangerous. And the debate on Wednesday that I spoke in, I heard Mrs Mogherini, the new Foreign Policy Supremo, the Commissioner, stand up in the chamber and talk about the European Union being a new superpower. Now, to me, that is particularly dangerous. What I want to do, I want to see Britain return to her place, trading with a global world, rebuilding our links with the Commonwealth. We're securing, maintaining that secure place on the Security Council of the United Nations, and looking at building special relationships with the emerging markets. Because it's my contention that inside the European Union our future is as a clam, but outside the world is our oyster. So I'm going to leave you, because Louise is going to talk very much about the National Health Service, I'm going to leave you with one comment, and that is, if you want to change politics, if you really do want to start to get your country back, then I say to you, in May this year, you have a huge opportunity and a very real opportunity, because opinion polls conducted by former Conservative Party Treasurer Lord Ashcroft only a few weeks ago have put UKIP on 29% to win Wyre Forest. The Conservatives are currently on 34%, the Labour Party are trailing way behind on 16%, and then we go down to the old hospital concern. So to my mind, there is only one challenger. If you want to see Mark Garnier lose his seat in May, you only have one choice. One real opportunity, not just to get your country back, but to get your own back on the Conservatives, if that is what you so desire. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is to vote UKIP. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is in early May to return Michael Wrench as your Member of Parliament. Thank you.